Now we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your favorite podcast with your favorite people.
Stakes is high.
Stakes the
Black Nerd Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, I remain Troy Hunter, aka T Royal, aka Tall Black Guy, aka All Ask Your Mama where I'm at. Actually, I'm on my back porch. Also, my co-host Terry Gant, holla at the people, man.
AKA Doc Midnight, AKA Dread October. I even made it official down there in the bottom. I am inside in front of the AC. My brother T Royal is absolutely on the deck. And thank you once again to our producer, my man on the wheels of steel, dark and nerdy, from a bunker somewhere, possibly in a what is that, North Center.
North Center, word.
Represent. I'm Jeff. I don't have any other names, but I'm from the neck. Representing Electric City, Schenectady, New York.
Oh my God.
The wheels of steel.
Tomorrow, some heinous shit's gonna come out of Schenectady, and everybody gonna be like, "Wait, ain't that where Jeff is from?"
Tomorrow.
I don't even know what it is. I just know something horrible will come out of Schenectady, and Jeff's gonna be like, "Damn, why couldn't I say I'm from Atlanta?"
Always does.
Oh, yeah.
Always
Why?
does.
Come on, Jeff represents, even though we told him to cut the next shit out. Jeff's
Cut the next shit out.
No, I mean, I gotta represent with the neck.
Okay, but actually we can represent with the top 50 tech in Chicago, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Props to my man Jeff doing the thing.
Thank you. Much appreciated. It was it was one of those things too where it was like you get that email and you're like, oh shit. And then you start thinking about it and you're like, oh, that's kind of marketable. That's nice. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because when they asked me to write a profile or whatever, right? Give them some background information for the story and all that. And I dug deep and they did like 8 sentences, maybe 7. They're like, yeah, man, Jeff's 42. He works at Central. He's writing a book. We out.
That's real shit.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've been interviewed and done like media shit, and it's like you'll talk for like an hour, and a story will come out, and it'll be like, yeah, he's married, lives in Evanston,
right?
Loves comics.
And then when I wrote the email with all the details, I wonder if dude was thinking like, yeah, I was really just looking for the proper spelling of your last name.
Right. And you know what I mean? And it's what I started doing is I had to start asking people like, how many words is your assignment? Right? Because I get like a lot of student like projects, right? And it's like, yo, is your shit 900 words or is it 300 words? Right? Like I'll help you out, right? I don't have to talk about this thing. We can just cut right out. Right? There was one way early on. I never forget this chick, Northwestern film student or something like that, had some documentary assignment project she had to do. She picked me, and I was like, yeah, okay, like we can do it. You want to come in and just do some talk shit at the shop or whatever, or like watch people do the comic book meetup type shit? We can do that. She was like, no. Well, I mean, that's cool and all, but can I meet your mom? And I was like, I mean, you could, but what? And this chick, she came to my mom's house. Like she hung out. She like took pictures of things. She made copies of like childhood photos of me. I never saw that shit. She had film footage of me going to work, but it was like, can we get some of that film of you, like, how people go to work and we have like a
B-roll footage.
Yeah, B-roll. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, I ain't jumping in a Batmobile and nothing. I get on a purple lot. So
right.
Footage of me going to the L. Like, all right, let's do this. Comic book dude gets on the train.
The funny thing about B-roll footage is like they always ask you to do mundane stuff, but now you're aware of everything that you do, right? And like, and I don't know if you've ever done any like photos for like literature and whatnot. They're like, all right, you guys are working on a project together, right? So just show how you guys are like working together and collaborate. And you're like, yo, dude would never be this close to me. Yeah, but I need it for the right? I'm like, yeah, but also, dude is on my back.
It's also like it's a group project, which means I'm gonna just do the work.
Right.
Dude would be in the other room. He'd be at home. He just wouldn't be here. Like,
they're pointing at the screen like
right, yeah,
that's it.
Right there. That's the data. Copy and paste. Turn that into a chart.
Oh man.
Pivot table. Pivot table.
Oh man. So what we talking about today, man? What's good?
So I'm still going through the DC comic struggles.
Yeah.
And my struggles are largely like in this thing where I was concerned that my system wouldn't be able to like reading it, like understand it. I got DC Comics in. So it's happened for a few books like that, but like not like all of them. So it's not as bad as it could be. Like if it's Detective Comics, I just don't know what the hell's going on with Detective Comics. My system has never heard of current Detective Comics, but everything else that so far has worked out. But every week going forward, it doesn't get resolved. Is where the problem just gets exacerbated, right?
Detective Comics is kind of a big one, isn't it?
Not for me. It's like, I mean, it's not one of my big DC sellers. Yeah, it's Batman.
But like
Batman
bias.
People who are like Batman freaks, they're going to subscribe to Batman anyway. So, like, I don't need a lot of Detective Comics for my shelf, right? I need a lot for the store, right? And every time one comes up, it's like, well, it's just this one issue I don't have proper numbers on. I'm good, right? I know how many I ordered, right? And I got enough to sell. But next, like 2 weeks from now, another issue of Detective Comics might come out, right? And then it becomes, damn, now I'm iffy on 2 different issues of Detective Comics.
Right.
2 weeks after that, another one might come out, and it's like, shit, now I'm iffy on 3 straight issues? This is becoming a pain in the ass that I just don't need, right? But so we're not there. We're just approaching. I can see there,
okay,
right? But we're not there yet. My bigger issue, though, is like this thing that happens in comics where like comic book companies are so busy competing with each other throughout the normal year that there's times in which you really need to like think about what you can do to not be doing that kind of like bumping of heads in order so that everybody gets ahead. And Free Comic Book Day is usually that day, right? Free Comic Book Day is like, let's all put out some shit, do this big event. Comic shops all come up. A whole bunch of people show up and get comics right in the face. A bunch of comics artists go out and do sketches. Everybody gets shine on Free Comic Book Day. We didn't have that this year, right? Now we have Free Comic Book Summer.
Summer, right? Saw that. Which
is like, yeah, from July 15th, last Wednesday, through September 9th, right? Like second week of September.
Elaborate on that whole thing, because I didn't hear about Free Comic Summer.
Every Wednesday for the next, like, I don't know, 12 weeks or whatever, you know, I don't know, until September 9th, every Wednesday, like next month and a half, not 12 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Like 5 free comic books, Free Comic Book Day style are going to get released to comic shops. So you hit the shop every week through like mid-September, and there will be free comics at the shop for a year, right? And given that, and this is to serve the mission of keeping distancing going in shops, right? While also still being able to bring people out. Like in my case, in my store, the comics aren't even physically in my shop. They're out in the lobby.
Okay.
Right? So you can come through, scoop, like there's signs pointing them. This is the free stuff, right? So you can come through, scoop them right up. And if you want to come in the shop and buy something, come in the shop and buy something. But you don't have to be in the shop looking for your free comics while other people are trying to shop, thus crowding up the shop. I figured that out, right? I'm not using the event space for it because I can't have a table up in the event space for 8 weeks while people hope for free comics. It's not a thing, right? I'm not doing that, right? But what it showed me, though, was that the other issue is Marvel put out this, they have this big event going called Empire, spelled all funky with a Y and shit, right? And it's like, it's one of their cosmic events and shit where like a member of the Young Avengers is doing a thing. And it's like, okay, like all this, it's the Avengers of Fantastic Four doing a crossover. And it's the reception of people who read it, they tend to like it. But the sales overall, I don't think is so great because people just aren't really coming out to comic shops like that. But this event was planned before COVID, right? Some of this stuff was canceled because like, they know there's just not going to be enough people in huge numbers to justify putting out all this extra shit surrounding your event, right? I'm not a big fan of every damn year we need another big event from each company. And Marvel likes to do 5 fucking events at one time, right? Yeah. I'm not a fan of it. And I think that like customers have been fatigued about that for a long time. But you know what they could do? There is a thing that they absolutely could do that customers would appreciate that would actually bring people out, even in distancing, but with enough numbers to move the needle. Now's the time for all these companies to get their heads out of their asses and come together and do team-up books across companies. You don't need to do a Marvel versus DC, right? But you can do a Captain America Batman team-up, right? You can get that out by September, October, right? You do that kind of stuff for the next year, right? And people are like, oh shit, what's happening right now? Okay. Because the Justice League Avengers was the last Marvel DC crossover book. And that happened early 2000s, I want to say, right?
Like, I still remember that did happen. And people were hyped for that.
They were up for it. And it was because it was Kurt Busiek, who's a damn comics historian. That dude's mission was to include every character who'd ever been a member of the Justice League or the Avengers. They're all going to be in the book. Everyone who's ever been a member is going to be in this book. We're doing it, right? It's going to happen. And they did it. It's 4 issues. It was solid. I think it was collected in the early 2000s, but it might have been like 1997, 98 when it came out originally, right? Brian Michael Bendis becomes the like kind of a big mover and shaker at Marvel Comics, and the dude up top was Joe Quesada, and Joe Quesada's point of view about things like that was, no, we're out to kill DC. We're not trying to do crossovers and team ups and shit like that. Fuck it, we killed all that, right? Well, they're both gone from Marvel now. Right? Do you know what I mean? Bendis is over at DC, and now is the time to legit get that all out of your system and start doing the kind of books, not this like, oh, here comes Galactus, we superpowered him up. Who can bring him down? The Living Tribunal done lost his mind. We got to do like a company-wide crossover. No, that's business as usual. Fuck that. You got to now think outside the box, right? IDW has some of the best damn ideas with like their like G.I. Joe, Transformers. They decided that all their licensed properties are the same universe. They can literally do a Transformers Ghostbusters crossover anytime they want. Why? Because it's all licensed toy properties, right? And that's just one company able to legit do Back to the Future and My Little Pony. Because they can, right? It's ridiculous type shit. But like if it's DC and Marvel doing a thing, or Dark Horse DC and Marvel, or Image, Dark Horse DC and Marvel, do that, because that will legit bring people in, because you've never, like, there's a whole generation of people who've never seen anything like that before.
Right. What's the crossover you want to see?
I mean, I'm a team book guy, right? I'm a team book guy. So as far as I'm concerned, what I prefer, if you could do, the JLA Avengers thing was done, but like a lot of folks just hadn't caught on to that. So I would dig it. I would love to see a new version of the Teen Titan, of the Titans and the X-Men, because that one from like 1983 or 82, 83, whatever it was hot shit that nobody even saw coming, right? Honestly, what folks could really get in on is something involving Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, Black Panther, Batman. Like you take this new generation of characters that people are really into, right? With like Marvel's Champions characters, and you cross those dudes over with like DC's young hot shit involving like some of the Titans characters and some of their properties that are on the CW right now, or like a decent former DC universe, right? Like a Doom Patrol like crossover with the Outsiders characters, like Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, like with those dudes would be cool, right? There's plenty of creators who could write it. There's plenty of creators who could legit bring it with shit like this. So just let them do it. Like, get out of your own way, right? Fuck your Batman thing where like, oh, somebody else has discovered he's Bruce Wayne and his grandfather's alive again and he's the grand villain behind it all. Like, no, we good. I mean, miss me with all that shit.
But isn't ego part of that though? Like,
yes.
Ego, like,
because someone's got to write it, right? And
well, I mean, lots of people would sign up to write it. The ego is within the company itself.
Well, I was thinking more about like, does the company have does both companies want one of their guys to write it, or is it? I mean, a lot of these guys are crossing over back and forth anyway, so they're pretty familiar with the characters. But
yeah. What usually happens is you're planning it out, and it becomes, all right, who are our top fucking guys? They're going to want to be involved. Who are your top fucking guys that are going to want to be involved? Let's do it. Right? It gets to be like, if there's something involved in Spider-Man, you're not going to have Dan Slott not fucking write it. Right? He's the biggest Spider-Man guy you have going right now. Right? Dan Slott gets to write your Spider-Man shit. Like Scott Snyder might be like, I'd love to write Spider-Man, and Dan Slott might be like, I'd love to write Batman, but that might be a bridge too far for both companies to legit. Marvel doesn't want its exclusive dudes getting paychecks from DC.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I can see that being a problem right there. We're not going to do that, right? But when it comes to like stories, the way they worked it out before was these books will be technically published by DC. These will be technically published by Marvel. So we write the checks for the company, the books we got to write the checks for, right? You just do it. And all you have to do now after that is just agree the shit stays in print for 10 years, right? Now we ain't got to sweat like royalties. We're not sweating who's paying to get what published again when it's got to be in trade paperback. You keep it in trade paperback because this pandemic like economic hit, you're in it for the next 3-4 years,
right?
At a minimum, right? So you're just gonna keep the shit in print and just go, right? You're just gonna do that. Now don't do any weird freaky ass shit where like, you know, Starfire has to be written by like whoever the raunchiest fucking writer is, and you know you're not doing that, right? Don't do any of that, right? Just stop that. And then my other thing was legit get off your asses and commit to each of your companies doing 10 books each that are $2 a piece, that are straight up aimed at young markets, that are your core ass superheroes. They did a thing where Marvel farmed out a bunch of its characters to IDW. So IDW is publishing Spider-Man comics and Avengers comics and Black Panther comics for an all ages market, right? They've been doing that for like about a year and a half.
Are those like the little smaller like pamphlet?
No.
Books, or?
Well, when they republish them, when they collect them, they're collected kind of at digest size, but it's like Marvel Action is what they call the shit. Okay. And it looks like the books kind of look like the style of the Disney XD sort of like Marvel cartoons.
Okay, got you. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I mean, you can go that route, but fuck that. Like, don't. The important part here is that you're legit committed to giving us 10 books so that shops can build out solid all ages sections with like known characters and new characters too, right? And you're gonna do that for 3-4 years, right? Don't just tell me we're gonna do the Avengers because the Avengers movie just came out and it's hot shit. Nah, fuck that. Like now parents are stuck at home with their kids and they're coming to the comic shop and they're like, what can my kid read? Right? Like where is a customer just contacted me from another state Friday and was like, yeah, my kid's really into Batman. He's 4. What Batman can I get from a 4-year-old? I was like, homie, I'll send you something, but this is all on you. Right? What shows up at your house, you got to talk to the wife about, my man. Like, because DC just ain't, they have nothing. They have nothing for you. You know what I mean? Right. They have young adult comics that are excellent, fantastic. But the young adult comics that are fantastic are not the traditional view of the character or sort of version of the character. They're not doing that for $2.
Right.
Do it at a low price point. Comic shops will go hard on it, right? Because like you, Jeff, might have to straight cut back what you read, but your kids are going to the comic shop with you now.
Right.
What was your son? Your son was just asked who's in the Venom?
Yeah, he's in the Venom.
You brought kid in the shop and you was like, yeah, look, you got any Venom for the kid? Dog.
Venom don't do kids, dog.
We found a book. We found a book. Marvel, it was Venom and Spider-Man where they were roommates. And Venom was late on the rent, and Spider-Man didn't know how to ask him for the money. So somehow Venom ended up tricking him into a deal, and then while he was asleep, they swapped bodies so that Venom could use a Spider-Man body to go on a game show to win prizes.
Win the rent money.
Get the rent money.
That's a Good Times plot right there. Straight out of Good Times. JJ needs to go on a game show because the Fabulous Foursome needed their paper.
Bookman needed a little extra.
Right. He owes Bookman some scratch. Oh shit! I better go on Jeopardy. I better go on this Wheel of Fortune. But like, the thing that's frustrating is if you're watching their cartoon content, they have found a way to make Miles Morales, Peter Parker, Venom, my man, the clone Spider-Man. They found a way to make all these dudes work for 5 seasons. But in comics, there's no all ages Venom. We just can't. I don't know. We don't know how did it ever happen? Christopher Yost figured it out. Why can't you figure it out?
Right.
It's crazy frustrating. Yeah. I found it to be bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely would like more of the young adults, more of the kids stuff, because it is hard. We bought a couple books that didn't work out for kids stuff, and I kind of had to, take that back. Like Ella bought some Spider-Gwen book, and she came to me. She's like, "Dad, this doesn't seem appropriate for my age." I was like, "Oh," she's like, "They're saying some bad words, and they're not spelling it, but they're spelling enough that I know what they're saying." I was like, "All right, well, leave it on the table. You'll grow into it." She's like, "I think we should return it. Like, we got it from you." She was like, "I think we should bring it back to Terry." I was like, "Well, I don't know if Terry's taking this book back because you've done some work to it." But
and the funny thing is, like Spider-Gwen is written by Shauna Maguire, and Shauna Maguire is a fantastic writer. Like she's so cool. Like I love her. The trick is like it's the characters that you saw because you watched Spider-Verse, right? But Shauna Maguire's job is to write a good Spider-Gwen story.
Right.
Like if you told Shauna Maguire she's aiming at 9-year-olds, Shauna Maguire might tell you, wait, what?
Right. Right. Exactly. The thing is, when I looked at the book, after I looked at it, I was like, the art style is kind of kiddie, but there was nothing indicating that this is a children's book, right? Like,
yes.
It wasn't like it was flagged. I was like, oh, that was a bad read on my part. I just looked at it and was like,
there's no real, like, it's not a mature reader's book, but it just might be, she might be writing, I mean, because she's got to write for probably a 17, 18-year-old. She's not writing for like a 7-year-old.
Right.
Or I don't know, what is it, a 9? Like she's not writing for a 9-year-old, right? Now, Shauna Maguire might also tell you that when she was Ella's age, somebody sat her ass down and made her read Asimov, right? You know what I mean? Like the shit we were reading when we were like that age as isolated ass kids, like we had to go there because everything else was written we were above what would be written for all ages kids then. Right, and comics were for all ages kids, but when Watchmen came out, we were like, "Oh yeah, I'm in this, right? I'm all in it." I understood the racism of Tolkien at a very young age, right? But like somebody else might have been saying, "Hey, so you're a kid, you're into this nerdy stuff. Can I get you some children's books?" And I'd have been like, "Better give me some copies of Nexus." Right. What Dreadstar? Like, I'm in the epics. I'm watching Captain Harlock alone at 11 p.m.
Oh man!
I mean, that's real though. Like, yeah, they didn't know what to do. All ages is a relatively recent phenomenon, right? Like, yo, let's write stuff that all ages can get. Like, no, we had like you were like 6 and below, and teenager. Like there was no
yeah. But are we the first generation though that's taking the shit that we loved as kids still into it and trying to bring our kids into it, right? Because I feel like that's a big part. Like I'm my parents never taught me or showed me anything that they were into as kids, right? But most of the stuff that I was into as a kid, I'm still into.
Okay, so this is an excellent segue here, Jeff. You just literally hit upon a thing right here. This is the entire MCU, right? This is the point of the MCU. Your parents did try to get you into shit they were into when they were younger, right? You grew up. What was the music your parents were listening to when you was growing up?
Ironically, I was just talking about this. I don't remember music being played in my house at all.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I remember me and Stephanie were talking about it. I was like, I'm glad we listen to music and expose it. Because my son was like, "Yo, I like your music, Daddy-O." Like, I was like, "Daddy-O? Who the fuck you talking to?"
We back in the day.
Right. I was like,
going to Daddy-O?
I said Daddy-O. He was like getting it too. But I was like, I'm glad he's experiencing that because I don't remember any of that growing up. Like, I don't remember,
Here's where I think these things are related, right? So we were just talking on Slack, right? With that dude Arian, you know, the short dude we talk to all the time, the motherfucker from New York, Arian, the little short cat, like 5'6", think he like 5'8" and shit, right?
He
Mad
can't
short,
even defend himself.
mad short. Like you guys don't even know Arian's short as hell, y'all. He's so short you got to jack him up to like shit. Like I'm telling you, that dude, mad short. Like I don't know if I ever met a man this short. He's a Spud Webb of the internet, Arian. So anyway, like we were just talking about this thing where like how it is that like Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie that they put out, because they put out like a legit great fucking movie, right? That even if there were no superheroes in it, it would have been a great movie, but a great spy movie, right? And Arian was saying like, yeah, the problem was that he had this issue where the Triskelion gets blown up because it's like it becomes this like the world-ending consequences in all the Marvel films. So the Triskelion is like the headquarters of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever, and of course they're just going to destroy the fuck out of it. And it reminded me, it legit reminded me that the Avengers traditionally, since 1963, their headquarters was never like a big skyscraper complex. It wasn't Tony Stark's Avengers Tower shit, right? That's all from the Ultimate Universe from like 2003. Before that point, the Avengers headquarters was always Avengers Mansion, which is just a big mansion like right off Central Park in Manhattan, right? And it wasn't, the point of that was it fit in with what Marvel Comics was supposed to be about, which was connecting real world shit and real world drama to these superheroes that anyone else could relate to. The reason they were in Avengers Mansion was so that if the Avengers happened to be Hawkeye, Captain America, Scarlet Witch, the Vision, Quicksilver, Thor, all those dudes could be seen either walking in the front door or straight landing on the roof or flying through a window. And anyone walking on the street could be like, there's Thor right there, right? Yeah, he's the god of thunder, but they would legit point to him. The artists and writers would put this in where people would point to these cats and be like, oh shit, the Avengers live here. And just like, they wouldn't be mobbing them like outside of Kanye's house and no bullshit like that. It'd be like, yeah, the Avengers live here. This is where those dudes stay at, right? Now, Tony Stark has the issue where it'd be like, you know, it's my mom's house. Don't y'all wreck it, right? My mom's is dead, right? She left me the house, right? And like, just don't fuck the house up. But they didn't know he was Tony Stark. It'd be like, Iron Man was Tony Stark's bodyguard. And Iron Man would be like, yeah, so look, we're going to be the Avengers. And my employer said we could use his mom's house, right? That is that's some old school shit, right? And every time like villains would come and fuck the mansion up, it'd be like, you guys know that Tony Stark's a billionaire. He can pay for the damage, but let's not fuck up the house any further, right? You don't need to be embarrassed about this thing that is the history of your comic book shit, right? Like they were in Avengers Mansion to be close to the people. When you put them in Stark Tower, you put them in a Triskelion, or you put them in a satellite like up in space, you're saying they're apart from the people. They're gods. The boys ripped it off, right? With their big, giant, massive, like boys headquarters or whatever. Like not the boys, the seven. They called the fake Justice League, the evil Justice League. Mm-hmm. Lots of comics always hit this thing where it's like, yeah, look, we're the ones, we're the shit. So we're off, apart from everyone else. Everyone else is beneath us. The X-Men. Where's Xavier's mansion? It's in the suburbs, right? It's in Westchester County, man. You know, like there was a point to the Avengers. Anyone who was an Avenger could legit, who was an Avenger could legit just be in Manhattan, just straight up be right off Central Park and walk in the front door and people could see them do it. And the MCU was afraid of all of that because they're embarrassed by it. They're embarrassed by old school Marvel shit. And everything had to be based on the Ultimate Universe from like 2003 or so. And it all had to be modernized and kind of like sterilized. And I think that's kind of, I feel the lack of just explain it. Robert Downey Jr. could just as easily say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to turn my mom's house into a headquarters. Right? Because the dude was like, you know what? I'm Iron Man. He just gave up his secret identity like he didn't give a fuck. Right. Why does he need to be 75 floors above everybody else? The villains obviously have rocket launchers and flight belts and shit. Like, being up in the air didn't help him. You may as well be in the mansion.
I think it just looked cool.
It did look cool. I'm not saying it didn't, right? But also generationally, now we understand that the big ass towery thing looks cool. If the Avengers were in Chicago and their headquarters was in like the Hancock building, that would look cool. If the Avengers were in Chicago and their headquarters was the corner of like, I don't know, Oak and Dearborn, that's cool, right? I'll admit that, right? I'm just saying I'm not embarrassed by the fabric of comics.
Right.
Right? Why are you ripping all that out? You don't have to rip that out. Just use it. But they're mad embarrassed by it.
I think it depends on what the material of the fabric is made out of. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some, you know what I mean? There's some things where you're like, okay, cool, like we can use this. And there's other things, I'm trying to think of an example, but there's other things where you're like, for the audience,
name a major superhero. I'll give you an example of something you ain't really trying to go there.
Yeah, like
your boy Batman.
Alan Scott being afraid of wood. I don't know.
Honestly, it's a perfect example because the modernization of Alan Scott has more than. So here's an Alan Scott thing that matters for those of you at home who might not know Alan Scott. Alan Scott is the original Green Lantern from the Golden Age, from the 40s. Before Hal Jordan, there was Alan Scott. Alan Scott basically was called the Green Lantern. The only thing green on him was the pants and the interior lining of his cape. The exterior was purple and his shirt was red, right? But he was not. There were no Guardians of the Universe. He was not from space. It was more mysticism with his shit. And his weakness, because everybody in the 40s had to have a weakness. His weakness was wood. The ring would work against anything unless it was made of wood. In the Silver Age, when Hal Jordan was created, they kept the weakness necessary. The weakness necessity was in there, and his weakness was the color yellow. Yeah. Right. And that wasn't because somebody thought magically yellow makes more sense. It was that weaknesses were a thing in the Golden Age.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with gods who could do anything they want. There has to be some tether to you being human so that we can get this story told on that level.
Right. Some Achilles heel kind of thing.
Has to be that. And without that, even Stan Lee doesn't come up with all this like characters being so, human and connected to modern shit. Like in the 60s to make the Marvel Universe what it was. Without a weakness to wood and dumb shit like that, Stan Lee just might be thinking of characters who are also godlike, just like Alan Scott might have been. But in the modern era, we get rid of Alan Scott's, when we revive Alan Scott, we get rid of his weakness to wood, and it just made him gay. Like now, every version of Alan Scott that comes out now, people who didn't know Alan Scott from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, like Alan Scott basically goes away in the early 90s for the most part. And people who weren't familiar with the character think that Alan Scott being gay is what he's all about. So any new version of Alan Scott becomes, but is he gay though?
Right.
Right.
Or he's the gay Green Lantern.
Yes. So like we
and just to be clear, we're not saying being gay is the weakness.
No.
Just to be clear.
It became the thing that Alan Scott was known for that separated him from the other Green Lanterns. He was the gay one, right? And for purposes of like of diversity and inclusion, right? Why can't he be the gay one, right? But if we're just going by pure numbers, why can't Kal Rayner also be like make 3 of them gay? I don't know.
I just wanted to clarify that in case people didn't know.
Yeah. Right,
Plus, when you said it, our
we're not assholes. Yeah, we're not assholes. I apologize. I was not trying to come off like an asshole, right? But like he was gay in the version of Alan Scott that was from another universe to begin with, right? They didn't make him the modern, the main universe's Green Lantern, and he was also gay. The regular Green Lantern universe had 3,600 Green Lanterns in it, none of which were gay, but the dude from Earth 2 is gay, right? That was the thing. And it was a sort of a bit of a shock. It was a gotcha when the character was announced, like when he was first introduced in 2011, but he's only existed from 2011 to now. And when Alan Scott's name is mentioned now, people will go, but is he gay though? Right? Like, did we lose a gay guy?
Right.
Do we still have our gay guy? Right?
Yeah.
Like, thank God we lost that dude who had a weakness to wood.
Right.
Right. But a lot of people had like, it's the same as Green Lantern related. It's the same as a lot of people who were upset that Ryan Reynolds was ever a Green Lantern in the movies. They thought they lost a black guy because their entire growing up with nerd shit, they thought John Stewart was always Green Lantern.
Right.
They didn't even know there was an Alan Scott, let alone a Hal Jordan. Right. Yeah. Like They were so removed, they didn't know there was a Kyle Rayner or a Guy Gardner. They just knew there was one dude from a cartoon, and Green Lantern was in the cartoon. That dude was black. Oh shit, he's got a movie now? Wait, why is Ryan Reynolds playing a black dude?
Right.
It was real confusing to people, right? And like the history of the shit is vast, and you can use all of it. You know, you ain't got to be embarrassed by any of it. But now that's absolutely Alan Scott shit. It's like people are like, nope, he's ours. He's one of us. Don't you dare make us lose him.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to argue with Marvel's success sometimes. And I always feared that was a trap for them, right? Like, how do you critique someone making billions of dollars a movie, right? Like that's basically what happened to George Lucas, right? Like, dude couldn't take advice because he's like, you know who the fuck I am? Right? And it's like, well, we know, but we're just saying this doesn't feel right.
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you make episode 4, 5, and 6? No, shut the fuck up and take my pen. Right.
But you also didn't make episode 5, sir, and we love that movie. You know what I mean? Yes, you can take advice because you got out of your own way on episode 5, and that was the best of the original trilogy. Thank you very much.
But he tried to fuck episode 5 up. I read this book where it was like the whole like behind the scenes story of that. He definitely tried to come in and fuck that up. He was like, whoa, you guys are getting too serious and you guys are getting too over budget. All I'm trying to do is fund Skywalker Ranch. And you're spending a lot of money that you don't need to be spending. His whole deal for doing 5 and 6 was to be able to build Skywalker Ranch to build his film Utopia. He really didn't give a shit. Like,
he didn't give a shit.
Right, he didn't give a shit. That's why he was like, yeah, I'm going to outsource this movie, right? And then when it got all serious and took a different turn, he was like, whoa, what are you guys doing? But by then, like, the horse was out the barn. And, we got our...
George Lucas is the kind of dude that would, like, have one solid idea and would just go out of his way to fuck it up and then want to be patted on the back. George Lucas could be like straight making love with the wife and at the end be like, nope, I'm going on the lamp. Ha-ha, right. Take this lamp, right? And the wife be like, what the fuck are you doing? He'd be like, you see that lamp? The lamp knows what's up now. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I get the sense that he's like such an artist that because his stuff has such popular appeal, he feels it's invalidated, right? Like, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want everybody loving my stuff.
George Lucas literally feels that because it's popular, it is validated, but it also, he believes it means he was right. Do you know, like, there's the difference. Because it's popular and so many people love it, he therefore could have never done any wrong. He was right. You know? Like, he's that dude, and you can't be that guy.
But then why do you keep tweaking it despite people telling you to stop?
Because someone bought it. He's looking at the total dollar figure. He's not looking at the incremental budget. He's not looking at the waves, right? He's not watching it do this. He's looking at that total figure, and that total figure is very high.
Very large. Very large.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying, though, is like, why would Greedo shoot first, right? And after that backlash, you continue to say, well, you know what? I'm going to keep tweaking this masterpiece in ways that are just like, he could have taken 4, 5, and 6 and just remastered the scenes with the CGI fight scenes and whatnot and been done. He didn't have to change a line of dialogue.
Yep,
he didn't have to correct Han's, arc or view to us or whatever. He didn't have to do any of that. But not only did he do it, he kept doing it.
But you know why he kept doing it? Because it kept making money, and his ego kept telling him if he had an idea, it's the right idea.
Why would I think a wrong thought?
What was in The Wire? In The Wire, we've all watched The Wire, right? And all of our listeners, of course, have watched The Wire. We don't have a single listener who's never watched The Wire, and let me tell you, thankfully, nobody's in the fucking chat right now because, man, I would stop and just start letting them know to go watch The Wire right now. But all of our listeners watch The Wire. What did Slim Charles say, right? What did Slim Charles tell those other knuckleheads who were the other hitters, right, for the Barksdale clan when they were trying to go after Omar, when there was shit that they shouldn't have been doing, and Slim Charles knew it was wrong, and he told them, we're going to do it anyway because we've been told to do it. If it's a lie, we fight on that lie.
Yeah.
That is George Lucas's entire shit. right? He cannot ever go back and say he was wrong at steps. If he's wrong at step 12, he might have been wrong at step 10. He absolutely backed himself up on step 8, right? You was mad at that dude. The first fucking thing he did was he made like fucking Greedo shoot first. The very first thing he did, he doubled down on no, Greedo shot first. We knew Han shot. We knew what Han was about.
Right.
We knew. It's okay. It's okay. Lovable scoundrel, and that dude was out to get him. And Han wasn't fucking with that. So it's okay. Why can't you just be the dude who wrote a guy, take out his rival, take out a dude hunting him down before it even got to that point?
Right.
The hood knows that's the move.
The hood knows.
The hood know. Like if Jay-Z went back and rewrote his, like if Jay-Z went back and just rewrote all of his verses in the whole like him versus Nas shit, right? No. Listen, this is what I meant.
This is what I meant. I know what I said, but this is what I meant.
Y'all love Ether so much, but did y'all not here to take over? Like, well, listen to it again. And now it's got like Billie Jean's beating it and shit. Like, that's what George Lucas is doing.
We fight on that lie. Could you imagine?
Fight on that lie.
Could you imagine if we had like a president that was like that?
What? In what universe? In what timeline could that be a thing?
Oh, that was too real. That was too real.
In what timeline could that be a thing? That's what it is. You know, that's all George Lucas is doing. The man cannot now, at step 34, be like, shit, you guys, how did we get here? That motherfucker made sure all the master tapes were burned, right? There is no other copy. This is what it is now.
Yep.
Shit.
This is Star Wars, right? Like, soon everyone will die and no one will remember anyways, and this will be the last.
It was 1977.
Right.
You know, the man didn't know that in 1977, we would be here. He didn't know. But if you ask him today, the motherfucker knew instantly. He knew. You know?
It's funny, too, because that's exactly what they were talking about in the book. They were like, you know, he claims to have all these great ideas. Like, the big thing this book I read was talking about was, like, how he has sort of transformed this story into an arc of Darth Vader. And when you look at the early scripts, it is readily apparent, like Darth Vader and Anakin were two different people originally, right? Like they weren't even the same person. It's funny how like you have this revisionist genius thing going on.
We've already gave the man shine for the shit he did do, right? Now the man wants to erase what he originally wanted to do. Just say, listen, this was my original idea. Somebody talk me out of that shit. Thankfully,
I just happen to have a stroke of genius. It worked out. Thank God, right?
And I'm a billionaire.
Right.
I sold all that shit for billions.
I was tired. I was trying to figure out a way out of this, and I was like, you know what? This would wrap it up real easy.
Right.
We just spent. What did we spend? Like in April, right? We sports fans. We just watched like The Last Dance with Jordan and shit for like fucking 10 weeks or whatever the hell it was. Right. And imagine Jordan being like on camera, being like, Scotty who? Like I was on there were people on the team, yeah, but I made all the shots. I mean, you know, and then because he was in control of the footage, being like, look, there's Jordan making every single shot in every game for 6 years. Like, I mean, it's never happened before. It may never happen again, right? And then Scottie Pippen just walking to a bus, right? Being like, my foot was hurt. I ain't gonna fuck up my summer.
Right.
John Paxson makes one fucking shot.
Yeah. That should absolutely be my new call sign for everything. Well, I ain't fucking up my summer. That's
real. Right? That's what Lucas did. That's what Lucas did, man. I feel like that's some real shit right there. Like I think that dudes need to get out of your own way. Just admit I've had some ideas like that were not. I mean, I've had some good ideas at the shop, right? And I'm just a dude that runs a comic shop, right? So like I've had to have ideas because I did not grow up with parents who also ran comic shops, right? You know what I mean? Like if I had to go into the firefighter business, like my life might have been entirely different. I might have a lot more scars, but for sure I'd have like a city pension or some shit. But and I get roasted constantly for like my nerdy love shit. Like there's a lot of people who work in environments like the police or the fire department that don't even want to tell nobody they play D&D, right?
Right.
And I get that, right? But I run a comic shop, and there's the shit that I've had to do over the years where it's like I sold yarn, right? Because I recognized that I had a lot of like customers who knit, and they would knit in my shop at my events, and I was like, where the fuck is this yarn coming from? Like, what the hell? Like, at first it was like
real deal. I always thought that shit was crazy. When the first time I saw you have a meetup, like the knitting meetup, comic book meetup, I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I happened to show up one day and that shit was packed. I was like, oh,
Right.
these motherfuckers is really knitting and reading. Like,
That was easy right there.
and well, to me, it was like, at first I thought to myself, we have a lot of female customers, and I left it at that. Yay, we have a lot of female customers. We're doing the thing. We're representing folks who legit are like out here reading these comics, supporting the comics, supporting the industry. It's not just nerdy ass dudes. Comics are for everybody. We own that shit, right? But then it got to be like every event I'm at, somebody breaks out the knit needles and the yarn, or they're making blankets, they're making socks, they're making gloves. Like they're doing, like then somebody's working in the shop and they're working, and then in between telling me what manga to order, they're also they're making a cape. Like I don't know, like this shit was happening. I was like, where in the hell are y'all getting? Then they told me where they were getting the yarn, so I just hollered at the yarn person and was like, yo, homie, can we make a deal? Can I hit you up for some bundles and shit? You know, I don't know, man. Look, I did that because the market told me this was a thing that a necessity I could tap into and do a thing with, right? That was a good idea that I had, but I didn't come up with it on my own, right? I watched what folks were doing, you know what I mean? And then I made a move for that thing. And when it was time to get out, I got out, right? But there are other ideas that I had that were not the smoothest of ideas, and I just didn't do those again. Like, I did a chili cook-off every year, right? Chili cook-off, hot shit. Everyone loved the chili cook-off. Chili cook-off, one of our coolest damn things we did in the comic shop. Then I did a pie bake-off. Pie bake-off. Everybody loved the fucking pie bake-off. Because everybody loved the pie bake-off, I was like, let's do a cake bake-off. And I did not know pie people and cake people are two different peoples.
oh, I didn't know that either.
I remember.
Are they beefing?
I remember that.
No, but some folks show out for pie, whereas cake is like, cake is an every so often thing. But pie, folks will bleed for pie. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least in nerd circles is what I discovered. So I was like, well, I only need one cake bake-off. I don't need to do another one, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't like pie every year for pie.
What is about? You know, it's funny because, like, you know, when I was running Chicago Nerd Social Club, we would do Pie Day and people would go batty for it. And we just thought it was a funny pun. But I had no idea that it was like,
there's no cake day.
You ever notice that? No cake day. You're right.
There's no cake day.
But that was also before Portal and before, you know, the cake is a lie and shit. And before this now recent thing of cutting very realistic looking things and they're actually cake.
Yeah, I suppose like we had to do over again, and we were like, what's your most like cake bake-offiest cake? My problem was like when it's pie, I just need a flat surface and something low-lying and a sharp knife, and people can get in that pie. Cakes will come in the cakes with 7-8 layers, right? People get mad elaborate. My prizes couldn't actually match the work done to make this awesome ass cake. People were bringing wedding cake level cakes, right? Now we have a problem here because half your audience can't appreciate the work you just put into that shit. And you just built a $600 fucking cake, and my prize is a hardcover Watchmen.
And a lot of these cakes that are fancy like that, they don't really taste that great, right? Like
pie, yes, and that's why pie is better.
There's a lot more pie variety than there is cake variety.
That's true. See, this is why we need gun control. Because if I had a fucking semi-automatic right now, this fly would be toast. Do you hear me? I would.
I connected the gun control to the pie and cake shit, and I was like, "Whoa! All right, damn, go ahead." He's from the neck, y'all. How they do it in the kitchen?
We are not aiding and abetting this shit. No. Stop.
Oh, you better find a gun in here for this fly. I'd be like, ban that shit. Like,
how do you even have flies, dog? You in the basement?
Yo, I don't know what happened when we were on that RV trip. Somebody left a door open or something, and there's just been a lot of flies. Like ever since we got back, we've been hunting these shits like predators.
No, I'm gonna tell you how it happened. You went on an RV trip with your children, right? I bet you anything, half the shit in the desert came home in your kids' luggage. I'm just telling you right now. There are 2 children in your house, and one of them brought a fucking scorpion home. And don't even try. I'm just letting you know right now. Somewhere in a boot with some Saran wrap on it, someone's trying to keep some desert life alive. And this is why it is. You got like a dead Gila monster in a boot with Saran wrap around it, and that's why you got flies right now.
You're probably right. I would imagine though, well, the heat will keep them alive. I figured shit would die off when we lost AC in day 3.
Nope. Because the desert creatures don't do AC.
They don't do about AC.
Nope. Nope.
They're true Southerners. Fuck AC. We just go outside and chill a little bit, like Troy doing right now. My man out there with his mint julep and his cigar.
You know what I'm saying? No, mint julep.
I was gonna say you drinking. All right. I was gonna say you.
What is it? I don't know. What are you drinking on? What is that? What are you sipping on?
Russell's. Bourbon.
You got the Russell's. All right.
Single batch.
That's real.
Highly.
No, I'm going. I've been sticking during the pandemic. I've been sticking to the budget shit like nobody business. I'm balling on the budget.
I ain't been drinking as much now, so I've been able to, spread the love around. Oh, my Cubs are up 2-0. All right.
The Major League pandemic baseball has begun.
Yes, it has.
So are we gonna speak on that?
Let's speak on it. Let's do it.
We don't have to see.
Let's jump to it right now.
So the first thing I'm concerned about. Go ahead, Troy.
I mean, in terms of sports, right?
Yep.
Like I said, I got 2 nephews, major college football type shit, and
Lisa,
their universities are both doing different things in order to try to protect them. You're living by yourself. You're still practicing, but you practice more one-on-one and that kind of shit. But eventually, they're gonna try to make them play, right? And
right.
You're gonna have to play motherfuckers who aren't getting tests. You have to play motherfuckers who aren't going through the same kind of rigmarole that you are, right? So, I got one at Ohio State, and the Big Ten has said we're only playing Big Ten schools. We're only going to do
smart.
We're only.
So if you got to do it, I think there's a better way they could do this. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so we're only doing Big Ten schools because we've said amongst ourselves, this is our process. This is what we're doing to protect our athletes. So we're relatively certain that when our athletes play your athletes, that we've gone through the same testing and temperature checks and all that good shit. The thing is about Notre Dame's not part of a conference.
Correct.
And so Notre Dame, the Pac-10 is the Pac-12 has said we're not playing anybody outside of our conference either. The thing is that Notre Dame plays 2 Pac-12 teams a year.
Right.
They play Stanford and they play USC.
Right.
These are marquee ass games. And Notre Dame a while ago went, you know what? We're not going to be part of a conference because we're Notre Dame. We're big shit. We matter more than y'all do. But now they're finding themselves nobody's going to play them. And we're looking at other sports. We're looking at baseball starting up. Hockey's supposed to start up end of the month. You're looking at motherfuckers who are still testing the NBA's in their bubble, doing their bubble shit.
Right.
Also, that's going to fail too.
It's like every single thing that you have, from sports to schools to reopening, is going to fail because you're rushing motherfuckers to go back, be with each other, play against each other, close proximity, and what's going to happen when all you motherfuckers going to test positive? You want to shut it down again?
Well, they're not all going to test positive. What's going to end up happening is like 4 or 5 players per team are going to test positive, and that's going to kill it. Yes, and they are going to shut it down again. That's exactly it. So what's happening right now is an experiment, right? At this point, everyone is trying to see if they can get back to make a little bit of paper, and they're hoping for the best before they have to shut it down. Every league knows they're not making it through their season.
Right.
Basketball is trying to get a championship in. Right? They're absolutely trying. right?
Yeah.
Baseball is trying to begin, but I don't think it's going to happen because you can't just keep putting dudes on the disabled list when they test positive. Not when there's more games coming. If you're doing a pro wrestling show, we can keep the show going with other wrestlers if some wrestlers test positive, right? We can do that. You can figure that part out because everything's scripted. We just write it differently. When we got to write somebody out, we write somebody in. You can do that. If you're football, right now they want the positivity of the news of we're trying this, right? But I don't think they believe college football does not believe it's getting to a college football playoff.
No, I think
believe it.
They're trying to. I like that. Hockey's starting with playoffs.
Yep.
Because hockey started the season.
Yes.
Right.
And they
were pretty deep too, right?
Everyone, hockey and the NBA are both kind of on the same more or less plateau. So all they're trying to do is finish.
Right.
But hockey's not doing a play-in bullshit. Hockey's going straight to the playoffs.
Straight to the playoffs. Where they figured out, you know what? You sucked the first half of the season before we had to shut it down. You're not being part of the playoffs.
Makes sense.
Right.
However, I don't think anyone's actually going to get there. Right? Because here we are in July and cases are rising. And if you're showing up to the bubbles now, you're showing up to camps now, and players are testing positive now, right? That means they weren't being so super careful in quarantining while we're leading up to this shit.
Right.
Right? Chris Bryant said a thing that made the most damn sense before we even got to this point. Chris Bryant said, they told us when we got here we was going to be tested every day. I'm paraphrasing. We're going to be tested every day. He said we got tested several days ago. I haven't gotten the results from that test yet, and I got to go back out there to practice now.
Right.
This ain't right. You know what I mean? Like if you've known about COVID since March or February, how are we now at June, July, right? And you're telling us great, we agreed to 60 games, right? You don't have a protocol in place right now that's actually working. So how are we going to get to the point we have a season started where now we're safe? Okay, baseball arranged the schedule to where it's like the White Sox and Cubs only got to deal with teams in their geographical area. Honestly, I believe this is the way baseball will work anyway. Most sports, just deal with teams in your geographical area, build up your rivalries anyway, right?
Yeah.
Baseball is the least contacty sport of the contact sports. But you know what baseball has that some other sports ain't got to deal with? Hockey doesn't have to deal with one thing baseball has to deal with. Hockey has a lot of things that baseball does have to deal with. But you know what? A whole lot of people touch the same damn baseball.
Yeah.
A whole lot of people touch the same damn baseball. They're not wearing gloves in the outfield. Right. They're wearing one glove on one hand, but they're throwing with an ungloved hand.
And baseball players love to touch their face.
They do. They touch everything.
Yeah.
There's, in fact, to let someone know that they're going to steal a base, they touch 5 parts of their body. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just the thing. Like, you can learn a lot from watching the KBO, the Korean Baseball Organization. I've been watching KBO games practically every morning for the last, 5 weeks, right? I love baseball. I've been watching these games, and let me tell you, these dudes are mad strict about how, no fans in the stands, but they got cheerleaders in Korea. So the cheerleaders are part of the show, and MLB needs cheerleaders. They need cheers, they need cheerleaders, do what the KBO is doing. But there's another thing though, right? You notice that even in these cases with the KBO, people are masked up, but when they come back to the dugout, they're still right up on top of each other.
Yeah.
But they're testing so much better than ours.
I mean, Jonathan Toews, captain of somebody, Chicago Blackhawks.
The captain of the Black Hawks, just to be clear. There's no more Blackhawks. The Blackhawks was racist. So they're now the Black Hawks.
They're going to stand on that racism. They're going to stand on it. They're going to stand on it. They ain't changing shit. He went the hoax route. He went the nobody knows how you really get it.
No, I'm pretty sure the jury's out on that one, right? We're good. Right? We're good.
We know. Yeah. We know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're aware.
Get rest and eat well, and now that's all we can do.
I think we're good. Yeah. We know.
But here's a dude who's as we talked about in the past about when the Black Lives Matter shit hit. This dude came with his very eloquent statement about hockey's for everybody. We got to recognize everybody. And then the next week went, no one really knows how to get this.
But Troy, recognize for a moment, Troy, that it is entirely possible that human beings know how to stay out of one kind of trouble, but not know how to stay out of another kind of trouble. Right?
Word.
Like that is a thing. Like Jonathan Toews knows exactly how to say the right thing about like supporting Black Lives Matter, even though how many black guys are on the Blackhawks? Like how many black players has Jonathan Toews really played with over the course of his career? Right? You can count them on one hand. You count them on one hand, right? Like I don't expect Jonathan Toews to straight up be like, listen, I played hockey with Ice Cube. I know. Right? I get this shit. I'm not thinking that dude's gonna come out saying that kind of shit. I don't expect that from him. COVID's a little different. COVID's like a whole lot of people have bad information about COVID, and you shove a microphone in their face, they're gonna give you that bad information. Right? You know, people have told me shit about COVID I did not expect, but it turns out it's mad true, right? A customer was in my store and she was wearing her face shield, and I was like, damn, you going hard. And she was like, droplets can get in your eyes. That's a thing. It's the reason face shields are recommended is because this shit's coming at you from all directions. And she said your ears too. And I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. Shit. I can't leave the house.
Right.
Not me. That day I was like, nope. Now I'm riding my bike to the store every day. I'm no more L's. I'm on the bike. It's the only way I can be like, I know no one's gonna be putting COVID in my eyes. And then one day I was on my bike riding home from the shop. Riding home, taking my usual route. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm not on the train. I'm on the bike. Here I am kicking it. My route, my special ass route. This is gonna be great. Get myself home COVID free. And there was a dude, some old dude that like turned, he was riding in front of me. He was breathing mad heavy and shit. I just made a left turn somewhere. I was like, this is my new route.
The thing about but the thing about COVID is like it amazes me the conspiracy theories that these motherfuckers ain't even really fully thought out. So I was on a thread where this dude posted a really good post about like he's like, listen, I'm a Catholic. I believe in God. I believe Jesus Christ is our savior. I also believe science. Right? He's like, and I believe God has helped us with scientists. Yep. Right? Right. So put your damn mask on, right? Right? He's like, we're not, the divine intervention that you're looking for is probably coming through science, right? Right? Like the days of just like miracles.
It's that one joke. It's that joke that never gets old. Where it's like that. I saw it go around during Katrina, which was like somebody is like on the fucking roof.
On the roof, yes.
They're on the roof, and they're like, a boat comes by. Hey, yo, jump in the boat. Let's go. No, God's gonna save me. Jesus is gonna save me. Another boat comes by. Yo, jump in the boat. Now God's gonna save me. Jesus is gonna save me. 6 fucking boats go by. Person dies. They get to heaven, and like, yo, so God, why didn't I was waiting for you? I believed in you. Why didn't you help me out? He's like, motherfucker, I sent you 6 boats.
Right.
Dog, I had you. Right. I kept sending you boats.
Right.
He created science.
Exactly it. So he posts this, right? And one of his friends comments on it, and he's like, he's on that liberal conspiracy bullshit. So I reached out and I was just like, yo, I'm coming to you with an open mind. I'm serious. Like, who's benefiting from this? Like, if this was just the US, right? I could see maybe where you coming from, maybe, right? But like, you're telling me the entire world has conspired together to pull this off? Who's benefiting? If it's the media, why is China infected? Right? China owns the media, right? Like there is no independent media with.
Why did half of Italy have to die?
Right. So I'm like, who is they, and what are they getting? And like, dude, just like blew it off and said something about flu and pancreatic cancer.
If it's a liberal conspiracy, then you got to point to me the liberals who own mask making companies and pharmaceutical companies that are about to get rich.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when it's a conspiracy, someone's benefiting from the conspiracy.
And people don't understand how science works, right? They're upset like, oh, first they told us one thing and then they told us another. It's like, well, yeah. And like first they told you tobacco was safe, right?
Yes.
They told you
right.
arsenic was safe.
Right.
Yes.
Right. First they told you don't worry about lead, right? like things change, viewpoints update. Like that's part of how it works.
Yep. Corn syrup, safe. High fructose, even better.
So it's sort of disheartening, like how you deal with this. But I will say, I was on my RV trip and I was engaging with some folks that I normally wouldn't engage with, and I got some surprises. Like I met this Trump supporter dude. Right? We was talking. It was a decent conversation. Whatever. Like he wasn't totally crazy, but like, it was clear he was a Trump supporter. He didn't say it, but like I asked Stephanie, I was like, Steph, did you think he was like, yeah. But the thing that blew my mind.
What state were you in when you were having the conversation? What
South Dakota.
Yeah, it was okay. You Trump supporter. Yeah. Okay.
So you know what blew my mind?
You're in South Dakota, yeah.
When I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it to the next level. We're talking defund the police.
Ooh.
So I was like, I don't know. Like I'm thinking like $30 million.
I know where this is going.
Could go a lot of places if we just like scale back the police department a little bit and start spreading that money around. He's like, hell yeah, fuck the cops.
And do you know why?
Let me tell you what.
You're in South Dakota, right? Everybody there is already armed. They don't need the cops to be Delta Force.
That wasn't even it for him.
Oh, no?
That wasn't even it for him. He was like, man, I tried to be a cop, and let me tell you, they're all fucking pieces of shit. I was like, what? He's like, I couldn't do it. I was like, what? He was like, when they say not all cops, bullshit. All of them. He was like, it was bad enough where I just could not finish training camp. I was like,
this is why it is these states that only 12 people live in have an outlaw nature, right? No. Yeah, okay, sure, they're Trump supporters, but it's a different thing when it comes to like giving the cops millions of dollars.
Yeah.
They're not there. They're not there.
Yeah. I was blown away.
You might be the first black person they ever met, and you're also like a big dude, so there's some levels of his bag he ain't trying to come out on.
Let me tell you, dog, it was like I was in Jurassic Park. Everybody was like, oh, get the camera. Like people trying to pose, like act natural, like act natural. Next time you do this, take your degree with you, take your diploma like in its frame, and just like whip it out, like, yo, you want to get a picture?
No, put on a chain. Put it around your neck.
Put it around your neck, like go Flaves.
Yo, I have never had
with your book deal around your neck.
I've never had so many conversations with dudes like straight up like rocking the Trump Make America Great Again stuff. My favorite shit was when we were at Mount Rushmore and there was these dudes that was straight up going to come to blows over who loved the flag more. It was hilarious. Like, so this dude had a Make America Great Again hat on. And he had a Trump 2020 shirt and he had a flag and he was running down like the main corridor where, you walk in the presidential trail from Mount Rushmore, and he had his friend doing a video, right? So they were doing this a few times, and dude like dropped the flag or something, and this old dude was on the corner. He's like, if you really fucking respected that flag, you wouldn't let it touch the ground.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? And dude was like, whatever. Then this other dude was like, I don't even know where this shit came from. He's like, I was in Nam and I got shot. And the first thing I did was crawl to make sure that flag got out of the dirt. You need to respect it. I'm like, damn, like, first of all, you was running in the battle with the flag? Like right? You
like this is Revolutionary War and shit.
Right, like you should have had a rifle, right? Everybody knows where you was coming from. You was in uniform, right?
The uniform was green. Right. You weren't even wearing red, white, and blue. I didn't see you.
Right? You just helping motherfuckers out. So yeah, they've gotten all the heat discussion about it. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
But yeah, South Dakota, man, they don't give a fuck about masks. They don't give a fuck about social distancing.
But there's also only 30 people living in the state, so like it.
So here's So here's I respect your point, right? And this is a conversation that we were having with another friend of mine that was like, maybe we need to take population into consideration, right? But the thing is, I was in Deadwood, South Dakota, right? Population 1,200.
Yep.
All right. Let me see if I can find this shit, because I was at some fucking reenactment of the killing of Wild Bill Hickok, which I don't really fully understand why it was such a draw, but there were a lot of people there, and
because Wild Bill's a goddamn American icon.
Yeah, but like it was tight.
Yeah.
And it was in front of us.
1,200 people live there, but 1 million people come there every year.
Right. So like, how do you do that? How do you even handle that?
Right. You know damn well mask up needs to be the thing, because everyone's bringing the COVID to a place that nobody lives.
And my favorite part was they had the good social distancing sign. Like they were like, well, we're going to try to keep COVID safe. But like, look at the crowd, no masks.
Oh shit, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Nah.
With the social distancing sign, like, hey, be safe. But
yep.
At the same time.
And because again, they're not telling you it's a liberal conspiracy, right? But it's the thing we always have in America where you don't look sick.
Right.
We're Americans. You can't make us, like, you get enough of these people together and you can't make us do it, right? You can't make us behave un-American, right? But there's some people there who have no idea what the real deal is. Nobody they know has died.
That's a big thing, right? It's not
nobody they know has died.
To them. Chuck Woolery.
Whereas 2 days ago, right? My homie lost his second sister in 1 year.
Damn. Second
sister in 3 months, in fact, right? First sister, not COVID related. Second sister, possibly COVID related. And it's like, man, this gets to be a lot of funerals you can't go to.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is fucked up. This ain't right. And if you're these folks, they don't know anyone yet, right? But this is the way pandemics work. In I always use World War Z as an example, right? Like the reason that shit is solid is because the stories are about how communities respond based on when a thing happens, right? Early on, it's going to be Miami, New York, right? It's going to be San Francisco, LA, right? At some point, though, it's going to be South Dakota. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? By the time it's South Dakota, New York knows exactly what the fuck to do, right? Yonkers, New York has already been ground zero for a thing, right? But when it hits like Kansas City, there's no more question. We ain't got to worry about it no more. Like when it hits Kansas City, Miami's been through it already. So you can already assume that you're good. What do you got to worry about? It's all shit just happens on the coast of the liberals. Nah, man. These things don't care what your political affiliations are.
Chuck Woolery shit was my favorite.
What did Chuck Woolery say?
So Chuck Woolery came out and was like, yo, this is all liberal media crap, right? COVID's a hoax, yada, yada, yada. Trump retweeted it, and it's like, one, you've got some of the most fucking well-qualified medical professionals in the world, and you're retweeting a game show host.
Yes.
But then Monday, that next day, Chuck Woolery tweeted like, oh shit, my son's got COVID. My bad. This shit is real. I'm deleting my Twitter account.
Chuck Woolery, gone that fast. Right. So Twitter has been real.
Right.
I misused Twitter. Like suddenly that's an abuse of Twitter.
Right. He's like, I'm sure he was getting that smoke. So I'm sure he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna tiptoe out of this.
Folks get that smoke, but they don't pay attention to it because it doesn't come from the people they respect.
Right.
Right? Like I could tweet at Woolery, I could tweet at anybody and like, yo, you're on some bullshit. They don't have to look at my shit, right? They'll scroll past my reply.
Yep.
I'm one of their people. But then
you know what, Troy? The other issue here too is the thing that's fucked up at a disservice is Chuck Woolery then deletes his Twitter account. Chuck Woolery does not go on 3 straight weeks of posting about what he's learning about the COVID process to his followers, right? A deletion of Twitter account is, I'm embarrassed, I got to get the fuck out, right? You're escaping out the back door after you just made an ass of yourself, and the dumbest president in human history just retweeted you, right? Now your son's COVID positive, and you worried your son might die the next day, right? Now you need to be like, okay, nope. My mea culpa is going to be me spending the next month chronicling this journey so that everyone knows what's up, right? Do that. Like, don't just delete your Twitter account and get out because you're embarrassed because you grandstanded on that shit, right?
Right. And it carries a lot of weight with the people that you needed to carry weight with, right? Because you were a detractor, right? You were someone that was like, yo, this is all some bullshit. And then suddenly it's like, oh, wow.
Fucking maybe Chuck Woolery might be the hill to die on, right? Like, Chuck Woolery's our example, right? Because Kanye running for president, that motherfucker ain't learning a damn thing. You know? Like, oh, fucking A.
Kanye. What's up?
I'm good.
You worried about him taking Democratic votes?
No. Not for people who vote with like if you're a black person, if you're a black American right now in the city of Chicago or elsewhere in this country, and an election's coming up in November, and you think that you're gonna give your Democratic ass vote to Kanye West, I'm good.
Didn't we say that about Donald Trump?
Do that, and what's that?
Didn't we say this about Donald Trump?
No. With Donald Trump, we said don't do it. He's a crook. My man is a complete con man. He's a complete con man, and he's obviously a racist and a Nazi. Don't do it. Kanye West has shown you who Kanye West was for a long time. If you're willing to vote for Kanye West, we may as well not have Kanye West run and let Pepe Le Pew run instead. Go vote for him, right? Like honestly, like you're not voting for a dude who's as heinous as Donald Trump is, but clearly you don't understand what elections are for. So vote for whoever the fuck you're gonna vote for. I can't tell you not if you're on the fence and you're about to vote for Kanye West, I can't stop you. You're an idiot, right? I legit cannot stop you. Go ahead and vote for Kanye West. He's not stealing votes from Joe Biden. Kanye West that's not the same thing. Not the same thing. If you're gonna vote for Kanye West, I'm stunned you're registered. Shocked you're registered. Fucking shocked. In fact, if you're a Kanye West voter, I guarantee you that no one believes that you can actually vote for Kanye West. It's best if you sneak in the back door of the polling place and try to vote that way.
I'm saying he retracted it, but you got Elon Musk. You had Elon Musk backing him for about 17 hours.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even know what Elon Musk is all about.
No.
Right? But Elon Musk is not about order.
But Elon Musk is an intelligent dude that, without even looking at Kanye's platform, was like,
let us use different words. Elon Musk is a smart dude. I'm not going to go to Elon Musk as an intelligent dude.
No, not at all. Because one thing,
Elon Musk is rich.
Because one thing, my
and popular.
He's rich, but not because he's not self-made rich either.
Neither is Donald Trump.
So if we're talking on this whole shit about the average voter is swayed by success and your story and your public sayings and what you said in public, and somebody rich says, I like this thing. If you go, yeah, I like it too, because secretly I want to be rich, then you're what do we? This is the thing is, this is the democratic process, right? This is people convincing other people to vote for them for whatever reason.
But then you just check all the Kanye boxes?
Yeah. So Elon and Kanye are both bullshit, yeah.
And is he on the ballot yet? No. I know, because the thing is, he still needs 60,000 signatures, right? Yeah. And 60,000 people that are willing to submit rest of America.
He needs to be on. It's not just on the ballot. It's on the ballot in various places,
per state,
right? Right. If you're Kanye West and you decided this now with election in November, you're way behind.
Right.
You're way the fuck behind.
There's like 4 states he's missed the time on. He's missed the deadline. Florida, I think, is next week, but it's like 120,000 signatures needed. Like, this is all show. This is all show. That's all this is.
But the thing is, I guess what I'm concerned about is he doesn't have to win, right? He just has to be interesting enough.
He's not interested. So okay. Kanye West is getting Kanye West's name out there because the dude's about to drop an album or some shit, right?
Yes.
And he wants you talking about Kanye West, right? In order, this is the biggest publicity stunt he can pull. But if you're the kind of person that this will work for, you weren't going to do the right thing to begin with.
But Donald Trump was all a publicity stunt. He didn't have a transition team. He didn't even have a transition team. He didn't expect to win. That's why him and Melania had so much beef afterwards, because he was like, yo, honey, don't worry about this. You're not going to have to move to Washington. There's no way we're going to win. And then when they won, the whole campaign was confused.
We're talking about two different levels of stupid. We're talking about two different levels of stupid. Right? You are drawing parallels to what Trump did and what Kanye did, right? And I think I can see that you're making the right parallel in one case, right? But literally, my man ain't got a shot of winning, and he knows it. And it's not Trump not a shot.
But I'm not talking about him winning. That's the thing. I'm not worried about him winning. I'm worried about him pulling enough votes to make it problematic.
Because to Terry's point, if you want now to vote for Kanye, you weren't going to vote for Biden anyway.
You weren't voting for Biden, right? If you're going to vote for Kanye, these dudes weren't going to help you defeat Trump. If you're going to vote for Kanye, if you're literally capable of doing that thing, then your life is in such a place where you already feel like your life can't get worse one way or the other, right? There's a segment of the population that already believes that. So if you're going to be a Kanye voter, right, you weren't already possibly a Biden voter.
But I guess my thought is we're thinking about these people as if they're like regular traditional voters, right? Like they may be voting clearly on name recognition. And when Joe Biden is the only name on the ballot, it's a lot easier to be like, yeah, I'm voting for Joe. These aren't ideological voters, right? A lot of these guys a lot of these folks might even be first-time voters. Who knows, right?
Yes.
That's my fear. I'm just worried that he gets in the same way we were worried about.
You are right in that, like one argument could be
whatever his name was, the Starbucks dude.
The Starbucks dude. Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah. I forget that dude's name.
Yeah.
The Starbucks bigwig guy.
This was in the primary.
Yeah, in the primary stage. Yeah. When 90 people were in this primary, and one of them was the CEO of Starbucks, former CEO, something like that. But whose name I don't remember now, but I know exactly who you mean. The concern is with a Kanye situation is some people want to be involved and will vote for the most popular name they see. And Kanye West is more popular than Joe Biden. And what you're going to end up with is then a situation in which there'll be somebody horribly inexperienced who will fuck it all up and, won't help a situation whatsoever. Yeah. And will just have completely blew up the entire fucking process by virtue of his ego. Right?
This isn't a Jill Stein thing. This isn't a
or Gary Johnson.
Right.
Not a Gary Johnson thing.
This isn't
so, I'm not saying my family said this. I'm just saying some people I know that have the same family orbit as me were kind of excited because of everything that Kanye and Kim did for like prison reform and getting right. And it was like, yo, yes, I'll take that. What Kanye and Kim did, they've done more for blacks than so and so and so. So why not?
They got 40.
That was literally why not? And I know these folks are registered.
Wow. Okay. Well.
Okay. So this brings us back to the earlier point, right? Like, go ahead and do that. And then live with that shit, right? Because what has Kanye West fucking shown you in the last 15 fucking years that didn't tell you he wasn't crazy? Kanye West told you slavery was a choice. Go vote for the motherfucker.
He did. He said
there.
That. Yeah. And what was the latest thing we saw? Just before we went on air, we saw he said some crazy shit where Harriet Tubman didn't save any slaves.
Harriet Tubman didn't save any slaves.
And he almost killed his daughter.
What?
Yeah, that was a quote. He broke down crying in in his little thing. It was a rally, and he broke down. He ranted for like 40 minutes, and he was talking about Harry Tubman. He said he was crying. He said he almost killed his daughter. I think Kim had some pregnancy complication or some shit that he blamed himself for, and it was a whole lot of shit. And you look at it, you go, that is a man who is unwell. But that is a man,
again unwell.
That is a man whose people are not telling him, you need to shed what is called
the fuck up. Yeah.
The quote was, Harriet Tubman never actually freed the slaves. She just had them work for other white people. He was wearing a bulletproof vest and had 2020 shaved into his head.
Yes. Kanye West is like the movie Demolition Man. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's so far the fuck out there. If you're gonna vote for Kanye West, then get on with it already. But acknowledge that the dude you're voting for has been fucking up for a long fucking time. If you can't see the difference between him and what we've been going through, he's not your answer. Right? You're just like, oh, he's popular and I can spell his name right. I like his music. He makes dope beats. Right? That the corner beat, the corner, that shit, that production for the corner, that was hot. Like I'll never forget him for it, and I need to vote for that motherfucker. And him and Kim,
yeah, Joe ain't getting on the 1200s and making no beat.
Nah, you know what I mean? Like just say that. If that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. But okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, there's Nazis marching your fucking streets, right?
Right.
And they don't give a fuck about Kanye. They're gonna listen to Kanye West while they take the name patches off their uniforms, right? While they're coming with no identifiable information for what government office they're working with, while they throw you in trucks and cart you the fuck off. So go ahead. You want to vote for Kanye? Vote for Kanye, you dumb motherfuckers.
Last segue, that shit going on in Oregon. Oregon?
Yeah,
Oregon. I never really thought about it. I was like,
South Dakota.
Right. So the shit going on.
Star Trek Voyager, that motherfucker's name was Chakotay.
Yeah, it was. Then that shit was racist as hell, man. It was so racist. I'm surprised he didn't have a casino in the holodeck or in the shuttle bay. That's how racist that shit was. I was
number one. Like Lieutenant Commander Chakotay.
Yeah, but anyway.
Okay.
So I'm just catching up on all the shit that was going on down there. And I saw a few videos, and I'm not trying to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but when I saw those videos, I was like, this shit don't seem right.
Nope.
Like, no, I mean, like, it don't seem right. Like, dudes just rolled out of a Dodge Caravan.
Right? Yes, rented vans.
Right? And just rolled up on this dude.
Yep.
And dude was just like, yeah, I guess I'll go with you. And there was no handcuffs.
Man, they knocked one dude off his bike and just like gaffled him right the fuck up. Like the shit that I've seen, I have not used the word gaffled in years. But the only word I can use is gaffled, because literally what gaffling was, right? That's what it was. Straight getting gaffled. You know, from back in the day, like, yo, here we go. You going with us now. Boom, and done. Mad orderly like.
And Department of Homeland Security says, you know what? I don't care if the mayor wants us out. I don't care if the governor wants us out. Not only are we going to keep doing it, we're going to go to other cities. Like, this is some shit. This is a
quote?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
DHS is saying it's us, and you can't do shit about it.
Right. DHS, and they said they don't put on identification because then people would figure out who they are and who their loved ones are and target them.
You know, from like Watchmen season 1. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
No.
Right?
They are
literally the reason.
And they're like, you know, we're bringing order and justice. We're bringing law and order.
How are you bringing justice?
Law and order, not justice. Law and order.
You're not even bringing law and order.
You're not right. You're not Mirandizing anybody. Nobody knows that they're being detained without being told why. They're not being Mirandized when they're being picked up. No one's no one
law and order. You have defamed. You have the urge to protest our president, you got to go.
The nerve.
We're going to do
the nerve of you.
We're going to do it here in the pretty much the whitest city we got in the Pacific, besides Seattle, in the Pacific Northwest. And you know what? The next thing we're going to do, you know, you saw the thing, DHS put out a call. It says, hey, random citizen, civilian, you want to work for ICE?
Yeah.
You can.
It wasn't you get to work for ICE. It was ICE will train you in detention techniques and firearms so that you can, if you see suspicious activity, right, you can detain, right? And you can do something about it and then contact us and shit, right? ICE is saying you, the citizen, can do, for a nominal fee, some ICE training so that you will know how to detain your neighbors in the event of something suspicious until the proper authorities get there with firearms training.
Yo,
I gotta move to Canada.
You can't move to Canada, dog. You know what? Like, just to get to the border, there's 14 weeks of isolation. Right. Canada don't want you. You can't prove you can do a year and a half of self-funded living before you find a job in Canada. You ain't been able to live in Canada since the 80s. Canada don't want you.
Yo.
Are you a pro wrestler? No, you ain't moving to Canada, son. It's not happening. Nope.
We got an office in Canada. I wonder if I can just.
That would at least get you sponsored. That would help. That would actually help.
Oh my God.
Them dudes, ICE just said that shit this week.
Right.
And it was like, what? But Chicago is also this. We are the capital of the United States of I wish you would. Right? We done chased Trump the fuck out of here more than one time. Right? But we are also the city. We can't pull a Columbus statue down to save our lives, right? every other city in the nation grabs a Columbus statue at 3 a.m, yanks that shit. Like, Chicago is protecting the fuck out of its Columbus statue because it's in Grant Park. You don't fuck with Grant Park,
right?
Grant Park is the Chicago. I was arguing with somebody yesterday about this shit. Like, it is not that Chicago loves its racist icons. Chicago loves its Chicago shit. Again, we will fight on that lie, right? Fucking with Grant Park. Don't fuck with Grant Park. You can't do it. Like, if somebody tomorrow tried to climb up on top of Willis Tower to put some shit, anything they want to put on it, somebody else will climb up on it the next fucking day and put the Sears Tower right the fuck back.
Right.
All you did was make it so we ain't got to see the Willis name no more. We're going to put the Sears name right the fuck back up there because we are Chicago, right? You can try it here if you want to. The Proud Boys can only do their Proud Boy bullshit in Bridgeport. Well, of course you could do it in Bridgeport, right? All right, we give you that, right? But when you're in Rogers Park, Andersonville, Edgewater, Boys Town, you mad low-key about your shit. I know where you ain't. You ain't at 87 the Cottage Grove.
At all. You ain't south of
I don't see you at Madison and Pulaski.
You ain't really
okay.
Back, really.
Right. So fuck you. Right? Chicago is like, try it. We wish you would, and you won't. We know you won't. So when ICE is like, you can inform on your neighbors. Look, I can tell you, I know exactly which neighbors in my community might be up for some shit like that.
And they probably got a Black Lives Matter sign.
Right. But they ain't gonna do it. You know, go ahead, go for your training. And the same damn people will post on Facebook. I went for my ICE training. You know, let me tell you, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I had my training. They gave me a fire extinguisher and a commemorative rubber bullet. Like, that is exactly what you would see. And then they would be looking at them like, really, dog? Okay. I wish you would. Because that's what Chicago is, right? We don't, like, what happens in the rest of the country ain't the same as what happens here in this town, right? It's just not the same. Our Democrats aren't your Democrats. Right? Our Democrats are weird.
Very weird.
We got weird-ass liberal hippies who are ready to fucking fight and roll and scrap Muay Thai style with like fucking glass on their wrists. We got Republican-ass Democrats who are conservative as shit and absolutely are Trump voters who want Trump the fuck up out of here, who also want him back, who want him to fuck up out of here. Right?
Yep.
We are weird like that. You know? Like, this ain't Oregon. This ain't Portland. You know? Good luck with that. You know?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do some more reading on this whole shit. Like I was just getting caught up on it this morning.
It was straight. It was brown shirts, dude. It was the most brown shirtiest shit. It was
straight brown shirts, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right, I'm coming up on my hard stop.
We like or nothing.
Because you gotta what edition we like? Like our COVID editions are just wild.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's just always every week there's something else to talk about that's like not related to that. I did want to highlight this one tweet that I saw that I thought was dope, and I think we need more of. Homegirl makes black greeting cards. Optimus Fine, right? And it's like
Wait, that's the name?
That's her name, Optimus Fine. So
that's awesome. I like it. Optimus Fine. All right.
For one, that's
black greeting cards.
But for two, like that's a whole industry that I think could pop off.
I'm going to tell you, for those of us who are in interracial relationships, I know damn well it's not just me and my family. I know there's a whole lot of fucking people who go when it's a family gathering or a birthday or something. There's an extra 10 minutes in every Walgreens or CVS of what do I do? How do I do it? I don't want to be too on the nose, right? I want to be neutral. And I know, like me and my wife have been in that. We've been in the greeting card out, and I'd be like, "That's the one right there," right? And we've had to be like, I say that's the one because it's complete. It's straight up like a new. It's the font in Arial, right? Go for it. Do that. Because I can't. I'm not gonna buy a mahogany card. I'm not doing it. I ain't never been that dude. I'm not doing that now, right? If I gave my mom some like greeting card where it was like all kente clothed up and motherfuckers was in their big ass like Erykah Badu ass headdresses and shit, my mom would be like, "Who are you and what'd you do with my son?"
Yeah, I saw Beyonce just caught smoke for that too, for her some new album that she got where she was, in Africa for the video, and Africans were like, "Yo, I see the dashikis and all that shit, but where the Lamborghinis? Where the skyscrapers?" Right?
Where's the hip hop?
Right. They're like, I wear a suit to weddings, but
what do you mean you're coming with the kente cloth and the dashiki? Right. What is this bullshit?
They're like, I'm going to school for stock trading. I don't know what the fuck, right? Like, I mean, I appreciate the lions and everything.
We recognize that you're like barefoot in the savannah and all, but I'm wearing these Bruno Malis.
Right. I saw this and I was like, yeah.
Oh, you're African now, are you? we only that African on Saturday nights,
right?
In Edgewater, we're that African Saturday nights in Edgewater. We're not that African 24/7, bro.
Right?
Don't do it.
Yeah, man. All right. Well,
we'll say next podcast. Troy will have listened to one Haken album, and we're gonna talk about it.
I will.
Well, he asked me which one he should listen to this week.
Yes, and I did. I listened, and I will not give my report this week. But the deluxe app version has the instrumentals.
The instrumentals, I know you're gonna love.
I love the instrumentals a lot more than I hug everything else.
Fair. I know you're gonna love the instrumentals because the instrumentals, even sometimes I'll put the instrumentals on like, I can't believe how smooth this is for metal. The instrumentals are solid. They're a great band.
So what band is this?
Haken.
Haken.
Haken. Haken. All right.
The album I had Troy listen to is Vector.
Vector.
It's the latest album they had. They got a new joint coming out end of the month. It's been pushed back 3-4 times already. Right?
They had another one.
Virus hasn't come out yet.
No, there was another one. It was
Affinity is the one that I said after you're done with Haken, listen to Affinity. It's the one before Vector.
Okay. What after Vector?
They did a live joint.
There's an iTunes store joint after that was between now and Vector. It also started with a V, and it was out.
All right, we're probably gonna get banned for this, but I'm just gonna play this Vector shit for a hot second.
If you don't start with a good doctor, Clear is an instrumental. The whole point of Vector is it takes place in a mental institution. The main character is in an institution. Clear is the instrumental to set that up. The Good Doctor, I don't really like that one so much. Puzzle Box is where you want to start.
So yeah,
Puzzle Box is that's the one where I would start on this album.
Yeah, the first joint is kind of whack. It's not.
All right, Puzzle Box, Haken. Let's see if we can find this shit. Official video. All right, here we go.
You got like band footage and shit, so they're probably like official video is concert shit,
which is whatever. But you know, then they start singing, and I kind of tuned in. Yes.
Okay, this is not what I was expecting. All right.
No, it's prog metal. The whole point is it's prog metal.
So Jeff and I had a discussion about the difference between prog metal and death metal. And death metal is the very distorted vocals and everything else. Because I have friends in bands who do death metal.
Yeah.
So I understand that. So it is not death metal.
It's not death metal. No.
Yeah.
It's not death metal.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. My knowledge of metal is very stereotypical. So all that shit to me is like,
no. So prog metal tends to come with a little more of the operatic vocal styles. The difference with Haken and other prog bands is their singer can hit notes as high as A. So he has kind of it almost sounds like a falsetto level, like a head voice kind of thing, which a lot of other prog singers are not doing that. They're more like operatic tenors. He's not doing that, right? So he's singing in a higher register in general, which is difficult. So let's say you've ever done karaoke and you try to do a song by the Police. It's hard to do a Police song because you got to do all this head voice shit, not like chest voice, right? And you're just not, the way you hear it in your head versus the way you have to do it to sing it, to hit those notes, difficult. But if you were doing like an Iron Maiden song, you can just belt the song out and just be like, let's go, right? A little different than that. So not a lot of singers are on the register of my man from Haken, Ross Jennings, right?
I'll be honest with you. I don't understand all them words you're using, but
no idea what I just said.
Right? I'm going to take it as disrespect, all right? So watch your mouth.
Right?
Like it can be done, but this is why like Haken vocally set themselves up apart from a lot of other bands in the prog metal genre is the range their singer can get to like fill this space with his voice.
All right? That's one thing.
Fine, perfect. That's actually a good example.
Queen of Freddie Mercury.
Because Freddie Mercury could do like multiple octaves, right? With his voice, he could get there. Whereas a lot of other like singers of the time were staying a lot lower because that was comfortable for them. That dude could use all this wind in his body and still get way up there and not exhaust himself. And Ross Jennings has that same kind of quality to him.
All right, now that I understand.
You know what I mean? Like that. So to me, vocally at least, that's one thing. The musically for Haken, their principal songwriter is this dude, Richard Henschel. Richard Henschel he's not just a metal guy, he's a jazz dude, right? He's a classical dude, he's a jazz dude. So a lot of the way their songs are constructed, they use all these different elements, right? There's passages when you're listening to Vector, there are gonna be songs you listen to where there's whole jazz sections, right? And they fit. They just make them fit. And this is why I want to try to listen to it to get to the point where he's like feeling that. But like if you take the vocal out, it's easier for you to notice the different musical shit happening without the vocal. If you're not used to prog.
Yeah, because the vocal just the
vocal will get in the way. The vocal it takes a while for you to like recognize what's actually happening.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I need to head out so I can decompress, start my Sunday ritual, Perry Mason. You know what I'm saying?
Well, shit. This
Yeah.
motherfucker, he didn't. I don't know. Something happened. My man got a book deal. Now he's 30 years older.
Yo, and the shit is almost done. The shit is almost done. Wednesday.
I'm watching Dark and Hannah. I'm watching Dark and Hannah. Dark I'm watching on Netflix, which I'm gonna say if there's ever a show in which everybody just looks alike and the shit just gets mad confusing, is because there are no black people on Dark. That shit is a German show set in Norway some damn where, and it involves time travel. It's mad confusing, but it's brilliant, right? It's weird. And I'm watching Hannah. There was a movie called Hannah. It's a TV show that basically is the movie, but like better, you know. Yeah.
I just finished that Truth Be Told shit with Aaron Paul and who was the chick from The Help? She was in The Help. She was in the one with the NASA scientist.
It's Taraji B. Henson.
No, it wasn't Taraji B. Henson.
Not Viola Davis.
Not Viola Davis.
The other one.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I know exactly who you mean. I can see it firmly in my head now.
Right.
Right. I can totally see her. Shit. Octavia
Spencer. Octavia Spencer.
Okay, all right, that's it.
We won.
Bam.
Yeah.
I knew we were going. We can get there.
Yeah. So I just finished that.
She's great.
I enjoyed that show, and I've enjoyed all the Apple TV shows that they've put out.
I don't have Apple TV. Well, I don't have any of this shit.
Okay. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about it.
Dude from The Root had a tweet that was like, he's gonna start his own Oscars that are judged solely on clenching your jaw and trembling.
Okay.
He was like, Paul Giamatti's gonna win, but Aaron Paul's real close.
That's what's up.
Oh shit. So yeah,
we did this whole ass podcast, and Troy, night and day didn't happen in Troy's whole situation.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It happened.
You know what else I've been watching? Became my new Law and Order. I've been watching old episodes of Matlock. Like there's new fucking episodes of Matlock, but
It's out my mother.
Right. I just be laying in bed.
This.
I'd be laying in bed, get ready. I'm like, put on Matlock, baby. She's like, okay. He's always got a brother sidekick too. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Oh my God.
Well,
Dude, I used to be in Nam, and we would sleep in body bags just in case. So I was like, yeah.
That's where we're at. This is what 2020's done to us.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Watching Matlock unironically.
Nope. All right, my back fat's sweating, so I got to get out of here.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been your favorite podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Stakes is High.
The
Black
Nerd Podcast.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you for listening. I remain Troy Hunter, tall black guy, all that.
I'm your boy, Doc Midnight, Terry Gant, owner of Third Coast Comics in Chicago, 6443 North Sheridan Road.
And I'm your boy, Jeff from the Neck Smith, also known as Dark and Nerdy.
Oh, my God.
And I'm going to be pimping my book probably next week.
Shout out to Luke in the UK with the beats.
Shout out for all our folks nationwide, worldwide. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We will check y'all next time.
Hey, Arian, if you hang yourself from like a bar, like you just like straight up let your body weight, you'll get at least 5'6".
It's fucked up. And we out.